Oh my god, the host just triple slapped me.
You see who's food running tonight?
56 was just sitting there making out the entire time I was trying to take
Why do we have
order.
so many servers on the floor? Did you hear about 73?
This is a work of fiction. Any similarity to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events, is purely coincidental.
No, so we have a change of acoustics possibly tonight because Kat's car reeks of pickle juice. It's just straight salt to your nostrils of dill juice.
I accidentally dumped. I didn't dump. I mean, the thing fell.
It had nothing to do with you.
No,
you didn't do it, but it happened.
A huge plastic jar from Costco of dill pickles fell as I opened up my back hatch, and it got dill pickle juice fucking everywhere. So, and it was my favorite part is I look over and there's just a guy sitting in his car facing me. So just watch that entire interaction happen. So it's just like, you know what? Things couldn't be better right now. This is perfect.
Well, when you warned me earlier, you sent me a text and you're like, just a little bit of a heads up. My car stinks of pickle juice and no, I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, we're fucking talking about it first and foremost. And then it was like, oh, do you want to try getting in my car? And I was like, yeah, I'll try it. And as soon as I popped open that door, like literally I was physically assaulted with this smell.
Punched in the face.
Literally, like it hit my nostrils and I stepped back one step and I was like, yeah, no, my car. Get the fuck in my car. So we'll see how this works.
Should be fine.
It should be totally fine. It's the same outside noises no matter what.
Yeah, fair. Well, welcome back to Rolling Silverware. I'm Kat.
And I'm Bunny.
This is our post-shift shit talk.
And we got some stuff to catch up on.
Yeah.
A little bit pre-shift. I worked tonight. You didn't work at all today.
Mm-hmm.
So I have, I can let you know how tonight went. But then I do definitely want to, at some point, cover the meeting.
Yes. So I have one note about the meeting.
Me too. I want to have a recap of, because we spoke about the meeting before it happened, and I'd really like to speak about it now that it has happened and come to.
Yeah, well, none of my stories, I think, are from before the meeting, so we can definitely start with the meeting. That was this past Thursday.
Sure. We
had the company-wide meeting where we go over all of the employer of choice surveys.
Right, we go over the results of the survey, and we all sit there, we have breakfast, and we all sit there and watch this beautiful. I will admit, the PowerPoint this year, way more condensed than last year's.
Yeah, it was just
very to the point, hit on the things that we need to hit on, and also the little slides that were thrown in, by...
back to the pie charts
right,
and this and that.
One more slide, that really kind of broke it up, and it made for a better viewing process, definitely for...
Absolutely did, but we talked previously about can we go to this meeting because it was your son's first day of school.
Yes.
So you didn't know if
you were
going to be able to.
So he was back to school, and obviously I'm going to be with him until he goes into his class, which even I was told by numerous managers and, our corporate that, go be with your kid and do what you have to do. Come if you can, we'll see you after that. And so sure enough, I showed up right
as it started,
20 minutes in, so everybody has already eaten. The PowerPoint has not started yet. So I quickly, I scoot in, I grab a seat, to which you then stand up from the back of the viewing area to give me the dirtiest look I have seen. And I look at the coworkers around me and I go, I'm so sorry, I'm in trouble. She's mad at me. And I get up and I move to the back of the class where we belong. And
we are fucking awful.
And there were definitely several moments where I felt like we were I was being spoken to. Even though it was a general consensus of things, it was like, and by the way, you two back there, the ones who complain and say things to us every day.
When the director looked at me, I had asked about something. I don't even remember. He looked at me and he used my name.
Yeah.
My heart went directly into my butthole.
Sure.
So I know how he knows my name. But I don't know if that's good, neutral, or bad. Sure. And honestly, I don't ever want to know. Please ever tell me.
Keep it to yourself. Just keep letting me know that I'm doing a good job. Thumbs up. That's it.
But the fact that, the director of operations looked at me and was like, oh, yeah, government name. I was like, oh, God.
And then we break. So after the slideshow, right, we cover all the things, to which once again, they write out all the comments that are left by the crew.
That's where I was going with that. The fact we had spoken about, like, if you're going to be able to make it, and I mentioned, like, I'll never miss it.
Sure.
Like,
and I'm glad I didn't.
Like,
I'm glad
no
I didn't.
way.
This was pretty good. So they get into the comments that are left on the survey from us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep in mind, not that many people even took the survey this year.
Yeah, we had
a
a
really low attendance to the survey, and then I, spoke about why I thought that, because a lot of things didn't change last time, and we were given this, we had to sit there for 2 hours and go over all this information being read to us in a very monotone, boring way, and all for nothing to come of it,
Yep.
for us to have the same issues this following year. So I think that's why a lot of people didn't do it, but that's not what's important. What's important is the comments that were left by the crew are always my favorite part. And it's like starting off so bad. Like it literally first comment. And again, somebody typed this out. Like they chose
and put it on the PowerPoint.
And put it into a PowerPoint and like
they Control
like,
C, Control V it, baby.
Yep,
like
cheers to you, because I was giggling like a little girl in my seat in the back. And so it's like first one right off the bat, management's never around. Second one, management isn't great. Third one, can't find management when needed. Like literally back to back to back attacks on management.
My favorite was management is only good when regionals are around.
So
As
great.
We're staring
As
at the
we're
regionals.
hanging out with our regionals for the morning. Oh my God.
But it's true, right? Absolutely true. When
for sure, we're a different restaurant when we're being observed under a microscope. But I feel like that also happens. That happens anywhere. Like anybody's way better at their or is going to be so perfect with their job when they're being critiqued, or when somebody's watching them. So that's not an unusual thing to have written or to say.
It's
but
still
it was
very much like
hilarious to be read out loud.
Yeah. Oh God. By our general manager, where it's saying like you can never find a manager. They're always in the office, and like guess who's always in the office? Our general manager, especially now, she's kind of the only one. I think our old bar manager wasn't there, right, when we took the survey?
No.
Yeah, so it was, at that point, it was kind of only her. Like,
she's the only one that still is here for these comments that are standing. Mm-hmm. So everyone else is gone and, on to other things or has left the company for whatever reason, as we've spoken about. So yeah, it was really kind of an attack on her. And even though it was never meant to be an attack on her, but her being the longest standing manager
and
that
the
we
general
have.
manager, like at the end of the day.
Right, this is her restaurant.
Yeah.
You should want your restaurant to be run better, you know?
Yes.
And I did feel like I said, this one went a lot smoother, and there was, we're all giggling or whatever, and
I don't know if we were all giggling, but me and you.
Oh God, I couldn't help it. I can't help it.
We're menaces to society.
You can't write this shit out and expect me not to at least you got to be lighthearted about it, Like
You
we're
have to
here,
take it to
it's
heart,
early in the morning, nobody really wants to be here, but if I see why they want us to go over it, and I understand that they want to put, they want us to see, here's our plan of action, here's how we're going to fix it. And I really do believe that this time it might be a little different.
Because we spoke about this a little bit last week, how it feels like we're on the cusp of going in a much better direction than where we have been in the last 3 years. So
hooray to that. And then it gets to the end of the survey, and so it's like all of the things have been concluded, and then the slide pops up and it says any comments or questions, to which it is crickets across the patio.
Yeah, nobody wants to
break that silence, and all I thought was I have to. Mm-hmm. I have to for so many reasons, the main one being, if I'm gonna sit here and talk to you weekly and talk to everyone who listens weekly about every single thing that drives me fucking crazy, but I don't have the nerve to say a few things when it matters most, who the fuck am I?
Right.
It's not, I hate public speaking. I hate it with a passion. So I'm already, my heart is pounding. It's in my throat, and it is pounding through my throat as I raise my hand for the first. And I don't even remember what I said for the first one. I don't remember where I started.
I'm fairly certain you started with baked potatoes, because one of our regionals had... No?
No, that wasn't... No.
I'm pretty sure it was, because our regional had said something about, one of the slides was like, oh, do you run out of product frequently? Her response to that was, okay, guys, well, we are talking about things that we're supposed to have on a daily basis. Obviously, some things are seasonal, and we don't have them on the menu all the time.
We can't always get a hold of the fish and the product throughout even the season.
Right, and literally nobody was talking about the fact that, sometimes salmon season is cut short, or we run out of salmon.
That's not what we're referring to.
We are referring to the fact that we run out of baked potatoes at 6 p.m. on a Saturday. That is what we are referring to.
Right, to which I raised my hand and I said, now this was another thing I wanted to discuss anyways, like further. But the thing that I said was, hey, just so you know, I think I can speak for everyone when I say that at least 90% of that comment is referring to the fact that we run out of baked potatoes often. Now, when I said it, I did, apologize, like jokingly apologize to our kitchen manager because in a sense of like, I'm sorry I'm bringing this up again, because he's sick of hearing it and I get it. I would be sick of hearing it too, but it is a problem. And doesn't seem to be a company-wide problem. This is a location problem.
Yeah.
Like this is specific to us and this is why we're here, is to talk about, they want to know what we're thinking, what's going on. Right?
Right, because you've mentioned before, like, we are the ones on the floor. We're the ones that are in the dredges, you know what I mean? Talking to guests and doing this and doing that. So if there's issues,
daily,
if there's issues that come up every single day on the floor that are affecting our guests, and baked potatoes are a big one. I'm sorry, when I tell a table, I'm sorry, I'm out of baked potatoes. I can't get that for you because at that moment, all I know is that we're out of baked potatoes.
Right, and it's 6:30 on a Friday night, and I'm out of baked potatoes. And baked potatoes are only available, so that's what I said. I was like, baked potatoes are only available from 4 to close. So the fact that we can't keep them in often enough, and now keep in mind, what I wanted to say was that we run out of baked potatoes every day.
Yes.
But I didn't say that because...
You said more often than not, yeah.
I said more often than not, or I said often. We run out often. And then I came back with, is it really that big of a deal money-wise? Like, are we really losing that much money to throw away 5 bakers at the end of the night? To which I was immediately responded to by the director, no, it's not about the money. And
he said that's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing that we even have to speak about this because this shouldn't be a problem that you guys are encountering. And he made a good point. We throw away mac and cheese at the end of the night, the mashed potatoes. And never...
rice and all of our sides we throw away extras of every night.
One, I understand that baked potatoes take 45 minutes to cook. Like, that's not lost on me, okay?
No,
but why don't we have a rolling amount of baked potatoes being baked throughout the night, just 5 at a time, or 4 even at a time? But it's like, why don't we have, like, it's like, why are we not better about this? 2 years ago, this wasn't a problem.
Or why, as servers, anytime we're starting to get low on bread, we have to call for more bread.
Right.
And as servers, we know, hey, it's super busy out there, and we have 4 loaves left.
Here's the other thing that I was thinking about after the fact. It's like, when we run out of mashed potatoes, right? At no point during any night when we run out of mashed potatoes am I being told we're not going to make any more.
True.
And we do have to heat those up. Like, yes, we have them. We're not mashing them to order. They are pre-mashed because that's how we prep for our day. But there's never an argument about heating up that, and it's an entire bag of mashed potatoes that we then will discard at the end of the night. But it can be 8:30 and they're in the back making more mashed potatoes. No questions asked, never a debate. But we run out of bakers and it's like, well, it's 7:45 and we close at 9 and I don't think we're going to make any more. Excuse me? What the fuck do you mean? Why is it like...
I was going to say it's more embarrassing when I tell a table, like, I don't have baked potatoes, and then 15 minutes later we get some baked potatoes, and the table next to them gets
a baked
an
potato.
entire table with sides of baked potato, and they're looking over and they're like, I thought you guys were out of baked potatoes.
Yes.
That's more embarrassing to me because I can't put it in at the moment, and I'm asking the kitchen, like, hey, when are we going to put these back on the menu so I can tell my table, hey, it's going to be 10 minutes.
Right.
If you want to wait 10 minutes for me to put in your food, then I can put a baked potato in for you, blah, blah, blah. But no, they're not telling me that. They're cooking. They're cooking. There's no timer.
Well, and we only start them when we get to like 2 left. That's when we start more. So now we're 45 minutes out from when those 2 get ordered.
Yeah.
So why don't we have like a rolling process of just throwing 2 more in and then 45 minutes later throw 2 more in? Like, why is it that difficult to keep them going? Like, I've worked at so many different restaurants who had baked potatoes and this has never been a problem ever before. Why is it that why? So that's why I brought it up. And it was just like, I don't understand. Can you please make it make sense? And even our director of food, he was there and he had, or regional food director, whatever his title is. And he had said, this won't be a problem any longer. We're going to get on top of it. And it's like, okay, thank you. Because I just don't understand why that's the one thing. And that's just it. Like, you tell me that we're out and it's 7:30. So we will not have them until 8:15. So any of my tables that order until 8 o'clock, I can't reasonably offer them at all.
No, you can't say, I'll wait half an hour to put your food in. That's crazy.
And also, so that's what I mean. Like, if they had it on like a rolling schedule or something, I don't know how they're going to fix it. But then at least when I bring in that order, the food takes 15 to 20 minutes to cook. That could be that finishing off 15, 20 minutes for the bakers. Yeah. Like it could time it out better. And then you're just more like, yes, maybe a table here or there might get caught in that middle ground of like, ooh, it is going to be, 30 minutes.
Right, but it's not restaurant-wide 45 minutes, we're going to be out, or we're just not going to make it
Yeah,
anymore.
or it's a little late, we're not going to make any more. So, tonight, we're apparently on top of baked potatoes, and we're never going to run out. As of tonight. So kitchen manager's there. He's in a mood. I get it. You probably got cracked down on about a bunch of stuff, and you're probably pissed off about the potatoes too. I don't fucking know.
He was in a mood again tonight? He was in a mood last night.
He's been in a mood since the meeting, and I have a feeling that he got cracked down on a few things, and I guess, and that makes sense. Like, I would also be in a shit mood. Like, he's not bad at his job. I have never once said that he is bad at his job, not once.
And for the most part, when we say the kitchen manager, we are talking about the assistant kitchen manager.
Right.
We're not usually talking about like the EKM.
No. And it was the assistant
kitchen,
kitchen manager that was there tonight.
Yeah, so I mean, reality, like they're cracking down on him, but this is our EKM's job.
It's his store.
It's meant to be.
It's his kitchen.
Yeah,
you know?
So if they're cracking down on anybody, it should be
him.
The EKM.
Yeah, start at the top.
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's like, I'm sorry if you got, your wrist slapped or whatever. Like, I couldn't just not bring it up at all. But I meant, when I called out his name, because he came up to me after the meeting and was like, hey, thanks for calling out my name. It's like, whoa, man, I meant that in a sarcastic, like, haha, sorry I'm bringing this up because he's so sick of hearing it from us, right? As anybody would be. Because he's, at a certain point in time, he was told to do it that way. He didn't make that decision on his own.
No.
So, okay, I'm not.
Also, we do joke around with him. Like, we have a decent relationship with him.
I've called out other managers during these types of meetings before, like, hey, like, this was a failing, sorry, but how else is it going to get fixed if I don't fucking say it when it matters,
Right.
And so tonight, like I said, so we have plenty of baked potatoes. And then I am being told repeatedly throughout tonight, can you push baked potatoes? We need to push baked potatoes, everybody. You got to push baked potatoes. Okay, let me just break this down for you, okay? To a degree, we are salespeople, right? We want people to get more food. We want to try to sell that dessert. We want to try to push those seasonal items because, we don't have them very often, and we definitely don't want them to go bad. I get that. And I can push an entree. I can push an appetizer. When you ask me, I don't know if we're really feeling an appetizer, what would you get? Well, if you want the lighter side, we got the artichoke. People really love the calamari. I can describe that to you to where you're going to want it.
Yeah.
You want to know what I can't describe any more than the words baked potato is a fucking baked potato. Like, where in my spiel of taking side orders am I going to be like, and tonight we have a beautifully salt-crusted, slow-roasted baked potato topped with your choice of butter, sour cream, or chives.
Or all three.
Yeah, or all three. Add cheese or bacon if you're feeling it. Like, what the fuck do you mean push them? People either want one or they don't, fucker. Like, what do you want from me? I don't really... Multiple times. We got to push bakers. Oh, so then I get a table that gets two top, right? And one of them gets baked potato. I immediately walk into the kitchen and I go, hey, sold a baked potato. Like, I did fuck anything for that.
They just saw a baked potato on the menu and they're like, I want a baked potato.
I can't encourage someone to get a baked potato if they really want mash, or like, God forbid, two people or somebody orders two vegetables.
Yeah.
Like green vegetables, right? And I'm still going to be like, don't you want that? Don't you want to be a little bad and get that baked potato though? Like,
personally, I would have gotten the baked potato.
When people ask me what sides are good or what sides do you have, the first one on my list is baked potato every single day.
Yes.
So I'm doing that already, like, as to the degree that I can. What do you mean push? What? How much more do you want me to start talking about them off to the side and be like, guys, oh my God, earlier I had a baked potato. It was so good. Like,
talking to another server, like, oh my God, have you tried the baked potatoes tonight as you're walking through your section?
Fire. Like, just finished eating a baked potato while I was not in my section. Like, what do you want? I don't know. And so then I walk back there and I go, just sold a baked potato. And then at the end of the night, I got a meal and I got a baked potato with my meal because one, it sounded really good. And two, I know we're trying to use them to save on waste. But I was also just recently told that the waste doesn't really matter that much. So what's the fucking deal?
Yeah.
Why is he taking it so like a personal attack against him that now we have too many baked potatoes? Wouldn't you rather have too much of something as a place that serves people what they're asking for? Wouldn't you rather be able to offer that more often than not? I guess I just don't understand why he's like takes it as such an affront against him, I don't know. And it's like
necessary.
you didn't personally put baked potatoes on the menu. Like, they weren't your choice, and you also don't start the night going, okay, well, I made 20, so if we don't order 20, then everybody hates me. Like, what's your problem?
So yesterday I've been having a rough weekend. I usually try to put all of my personal shit, to the side at the door when I start my shift. That's what you're supposed to do. And, I make more money when I'm in a good mood.
Yeah.
And Friday, I had just gotten like news upon news upon news that was just like awful, stressful news.
Very stressful news.
Within an hour of me starting the shift. So I get to work and it's very visible that I was just like not okay. The GM was like, we're going to be okay without you. And I was like, I know, but you told me you'd prefer if I didn't call out. Because it was supposed to be busy.
Right.
And she goes, yeah, that's a me problem, not you. Go home.
Right.
And I was like, cool, thank you. Like,
Yeah.
I did appreciate that. That was very
No, it was
stressful.
very nice. And it was,
Yeah.
and then she immediately came to me and said, you go check on Kat.
Yeah.
Make sure Kat's okay. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to make sure that she's okay before she heads home.
Yeah. So
Like,
it's just, it
because
was
she knows we're close and she knows that, it matters that, and now I thought you were going to be on the floor with me, so she was like, no, she's going home. Go check on her.
Yeah.
So it was very nice.
And then yesterday, I, worked a full shift, closing shift, and it was great. It was fine. It was cute, whatever. And then
It was cute.
it was cute. But the assistant kitchen manager was in a mood like all day yesterday, and he was correcting me on a couple of things that nobody's ever really corrected me on before, but if they're standard, they're standard. Like,
Right,
that's
absolutely.
fine. You know what I mean? Like, at one point he goes, you have to call for modifications. Like, you have to let the kitchen know before you put it in so that we can tell you if it's okay. And we were slightly busy, and
Okay.
I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I was like, fair. I didn't think about that. Any composed dish I put in, if I need a modification for it, I'll ask the kitchen first. I'm so sorry. It slipped my
no
mind.
argument there.
Yeah, I was like, okay, cool. But it was just like, he was just in a mood, right?
Right.
So I, at one point, look at the EKM kind of jokingly, and I was like, the assistant kitchen manager is being really mean to me tonight, and it's making me sad. Go beat him up for me. Like, as a joke, right?
Sure.
Because, I have that kind of like relationship with the EKM. And he immediately walks over to the assistant
Oh,
kitchen
no.
manager. And
No.
exactly. I was in the bev station when this happened, and I see him walking over to the assistant kitchen manager, and I yell at him like, I was kidding, stop it, no. And then I did say something to the kitchen manager at some point, and I was like, I hope he didn't actually say anything to you, like, for real. Like, I was completely joking with him
That was
about
100% a joke.
Yeah.
My feelings are not hurt. I am fine.
I mean, they were, but also, like, I didn't need, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to, like, run to his boss to be like, he's being mean to me, because there was absolutely nothing he said that I would have taken personally if I just wasn't having a shit weekend myself. And just him not being his normal, like, happy-go-lucky kind of, like, jokey mood, I kept, kind of taking it more personally than I normally would if it was any other weekend. But I pulled him aside and I was like, oh my God, I was completely joking with the EK. I'm like, please, I hope he didn't say anything. And if he did say anything seriously to you, like, throw it away. Like, it was all a joke.
It's a non-issue, please.
Yeah. And he was like, oh no, it's fine. I'm just, really, this place. And then he like kind of walks away. So I was like, okay. So yeah, I think that he's, he has been in a mood the last couple of days, but it was one of those things where at the end of the night when I had just like a conversation with him outside of the line and to let him know like, hey, like I was just kidding. Like, I hope that nothing happened. And he goes, oh, no, you're fine. And he kind of built back into his, usual demeanor. So it made me feel like, okay, well, it was just a stressful night. Yeah. So I didn't know that he was kind of like still in a mood tonight as well.
It seems like he's still being affected by whatever's going on. And so like I cut him all this, like, I was not cracking jokes tonight. I was not trying to be, rude in any way. When hands were called, I was the first person there, which it's not that I'm not usually. It's just like I'm literally setting down entire trays full of glasses so that I can go and be there and like making a point to him like, hey, I got your back. Yeah. Like clearly you're going through something. I want you to understand that it's fine. And so I was so on top of it. So that's why I said with the repeated comments about the potatoes, I was just like, okay, dude, none of this that was never meant to be a you thing. You are not the reason that we're running out of baked potatoes. It's just the decisions that are being made by the kitchen. I did not intend for that to be such a personal attack, nor would I ever. I would never look at him and be like, you suck. Like, you're failing. Like, I don't feel that way. No. So that's why I said, and then at the very end of the night, like I said, I got a meal and I got a baker. And then 2 other coworkers, I had said, yeah, if there's bakers, let's get them. Like if are you getting them? Because I saw one person putting in a meal and I said, you getting a baker tonight? And she was like, yeah, I think I am going to get a baker tonight, right? And so we had a little...
Normally at the end of the night when we're getting our food, there aren't any bakers left.
Exactly.
So it is kind of like,
so now
a treat.
now we have the option to get them. And that's nice too, because we pay, sure, it's only half price, but we still pay for that food. Yeah. And that's, the reason, and so that's good too. Yeah. So when I had walked into the kitchen, this is the only time that I tried to make a joke at all tonight. It was like the very, very, very end of the night, to which I'm holding my plate with a baker on it. And I said, hey, I just want to let you know that I did go around and tell crew, get bakers tonight. Like, for our meals. He looks me dead in the face, turns around and walks away. And I'm just like,
Oh.
that was entirely a joke, and I get you're not ready to joke about it. Okay, I'm very sorry. And again, but also I was trying to be helpful.
Yeah.
I got one and 2 other people, in fact, got them. So at least at the end of the night, 3 bakers were not gone to waste.
They were paid for. They were paid in for, the inventory.
Yeah, and they were consumed, and everyone was happy. So it's like, again, it's a little weird right now. So yeah, and then we're kind of the only people talking during...
you and Mama Bear.
Yeah.
So we were the only ones asking questions over and over. Nobody else had
anything to say, and I thought it was interesting because I know that several people had spoken to me just the previous weekend about things. Mm-hmm. And then we're all talking about the meeting coming up. Like, everybody's discussing the meeting coming up and how it's going to go and, what's going to be said. And, like, some people are hating that they even have to come, and other people are like, oh, I'm interested to see what's going to happen, right? And so it's like, for all those people to be talking about it, and then all of a sudden it's crickets.
Yeah.
And then, you and I kind of tag teamed that comment section. Like, the questions and comments were all kind of us back and forth, to which I think the regionals were getting a kick out of it. Like, they were both laughing. They're like, oh yeah, you in the back again. Like, it ended up being very lighthearted, and I don't think any of it was bad, and comments were made.
No, it was constructive, and I hope that this year it does
take a turn.
It affects the floor. And something that you did make a comment about the 2 newer managers.
Yeah, because I wanted to put a positive note in there, mm-hmm. and I just said, I just want, I wanted regionals to know that while these 2 managers were not with us for this survey, they are fantastic hires. And mm-hmm. I even said, I think I can speak for everybody when I say that we all really enjoy having, them here with us.
Yeah, to be fair.
And then we all clapped, and everybody, mm-hmm. And I thought that was a good... I was just trying to make it a little bit lighter, not everything's a complaint, not everything's a problem. And we're building a great team.
I was going to say, honestly, I feel like if they were here before people had to take that survey, I
think the survey would have been a lot different.
It would have gone so much differently.
Right. So we are going to do a follow-up survey too.
I know. I think I'm going to go ahead and fill that one out, as honestly, you know what I mean? And
absolutely.
Put in
if they want our feedback, we should be giving it to them. Mm-hmm. And like they said, a lot of places don't ask for this kind of critique.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever had
once
another company
None
ask
of
me,
my
how
other
are we
companies,
doing?
either in the industry or out of the industry, have I ever been asked multiple questionnaire about how things are going.
Yeah, Darden didn't give an absolute fuck what I thought.
Neither did Landry's. Landry's could not give a fuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she was right, and we should take it as a, hey, this is... because they want to hear it. So let's let them hear it, Like last year, we sure the fuck did. It was a lot worse last year, and things were a lot worse last year.
Yes, they were.
Even than they were when we took this survey, So all in all, I think it was positive, and I think everybody, kind of felt like, oh, okay, good to know. And then some people just don't give 2 fucks at all, and that's fine too. Like, you don't have to give it the time of day. But I just really felt like, if I don't speak up now, who am I? Like, who am I as a person if I don't speak up when there's a chance of they're listening,
change happening. Yeah.
They're listening right now. Like, I can talk all day to you or to strangers on the internet, but changes aren't going to come from strangers on the internet, you know? So, and then I was even thanked later by the GM when she walked past us while we were cleaning up. She said, hey, thank you for the questions. Like, thank you for speaking up, because no one else was going to. And I knew it. I was like, somebody's got to break the ice to get this started, because nobody wants to be that person.
I was going to say, usually you have one person asking, or saying something at the very start, and then you're going to have like 5 or 6 different people, either jumping in, supporting that comment, or saying like, oh, to piggyback off of that, this is what I think, or hey, I really had a question about this just happened recently, da-da-da.
Yeah, which is what we've done in the past before.
Yeah,
so
but
that's why
this time it was really interesting.
It was pretty much just us.
It was just the 2 of us and Mama Bear.
And then one host too chimed in for a minute, which with good suggestions too. Mm-hmm. Like, I think across the board it was...
No, I think it was a really constructive meeting, but that was Thursday morning.
Right.
And then the crew got together and, after the meeting, and went for lunch, and I picked up a hammer shift that night, and it was like my first kind of official hammer shift.
Yep.
I called the GM and I asked like, hey, would it be okay if I did this? Are you going to be on? And she says, I think it'd be perfect. Come in for your hammer shift. I was like, great. So my first hammer shift was like an emergency hammer shift.
Right.
And it, went tits up, sewage started leaking in places, and nobody knew how to do side work, and it was such a mess, and I was just like, okay, whatever, it's so hectic. And then Thursday night,
Yep.
you were working that night as
Yep.
well. The system goes down in the kitchen. So they're either not getting tickets or wrong stations are getting the tickets
Right.
for
Yeah,
other
like
people.
Fry's getting Sushi's tickets,
Yeah.
and it's it's bananas
There was
back
like
there.
45-minute tickets for like calamari.
Yeah.
Like it was an
And to no
absolute
fault
shit
of
show.
anybody's, there
No,
was
it just
nothing that
happened.
could be done. And who we had at the line as our expo, he was doing everything
Everything
he
he could.
could, and including talking to tables, including like taking charge. And to top on that happening, we had the busiest Thursday.
Yeah,
that we've like
so
we
busy.
we hit almost 300 covers or something like that
It's
on a
crazy.
fucking random summer Thursday. Like, are you joking?
Like
Like,
that happens in the kitchen, and I'm just looking around and I'm like, you know what? I think all of the gods, the new and the old, are just telling me this isn't for you.
I think they're putting you to the test for a reason. It's like,
We
you want
tested
this?
so hard.
You want this? You really want it? Here you go. Here's everything that can go wrong. Yeah, that was
so I was just
I
could think of was
barely
just, like,
kept
great.
my head above water.
Yeah, same.
Like literally, and I was in the lounge section and you were hammer, and it was just like hit after hit after hit, but I'm just gonna stroll through it. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, what else can you do?
I'm up,
Yeah.
I'm smiling. Like, you had made the comment, like, none of these fuckers are gonna see me run, like, like joking, obviously, but like, they're not
No,
gonna.
I meant just that I'm not going to run through my section and just be like, oh, let me get this.
Yeah,
for you, then
I'm
get
not
this,
going to look frantic for even a moment, and I didn't either. I took that energy and I went out and I was like, "That's right. Yes, I'm inundated." And the bartender was given tables to which he could not handle at all, which is fine. It's to no fault of his own. Tickets are printing like mad.
Yeah,
Like it was.
and he's a newer bartender too. So
Right,
he's
well, and it
still-
was absurd to even try to hand. Like, I know they were handing them tables because there was no other servers to take
I
them.
know.
But then it ended up being me that took them, with help from management, thank God. 3 tables that were designated to him ended up my tables, to which he, of course, was like, take them, like, keep them, take them. Don't worry about anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, there's no, like, we don't have any other choice. This is where we're at. And I'm just you just roll with the punches at a certain point,
Yeah,
But-
and that's the thing is it got so hectic that it was just like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because for a minute I did feel that busy, that like rush. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That like, oh, I got to pick up the pace. I got to, kind of be quicker. And then I got so busy that I was just like, oh, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like I couldn't run fast enough to get to everything that I need
Nope.
to get to.
Absolutely
in
not.
like that 1 minute time frame that I normally like to get things, whether it
Yeah.
be like presets or whatever. Like I'm not going to be able to do it as quickly as I would normally anyways. There's going to be an extra minute or two no matter how fast I run. I can't run fast enough to
No.
do this, so I'm not gonna
I'm not going to run, and I'm
they're
just...
still gonna get their presets before the food drops,
Right.
obviously, because the kitchen's not sending
Yeah,
anything out
because
right
I got
now.
plenty of fucking time right now to do that.
They're gonna get their refills when they get their refills, along with the other 4 tables refills. Like it
Yeah.
was, and the timing was so off on Thursday, and it just felt like even at one point I only had 4 tables, but just the way the timing in which they were sat was just so screwy,
Right.
and it wasn't great. And I was just like, oh my god, today's great.
Well,
I
and
love this so much.
One of our newer servers, sweet as a bean, absolutely so kind, not necessarily super strong yet or confident yet with how we run a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
She's worked other restaurants, handled those just fine. Like, I'm
Mrs. Paranorman, yeah.
yes, Mrs. Paranorman. There we go. That's fantastic. Mrs. Paranorman hit her first really hectic night.
Ooh.
So
But
not
she
only
was having a hard time with it.
she was
too,
having a hard
yeah.
time. So it went from, normally we try to keep newer servers to a very specific amount of tables because we don't want them to feel inundated and overwhelmed, especially when things like the kitchen going down happen, right?
Yeah.
But there was no choice. It was you take another table or, like we're all at that point,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's...
And she had like tables yelling at her because of the kitchen, like things
Yeah.
that weren't even her fault.
No,
She was
and-
getting tables complaining,
And I'm
about
sure
it,
she
and
did
it's-
everything in her power to do it to the best of her ability. It's
Yeah.
just that maybe her ability isn't... Well, obviously she's not as comfortable as we are,
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, I feel like she's probably like she's a decent server, right?
Yeah.
Because she's been in the industry for long enough, so she, she can do the basic steps of service. It's
Yeah.
just about knowing our restaurant.
Well, and also
being-
the timing. And so now the timing that
being
she had
comfortable with the
learned is
computer, yeah.
fucked.
Yeah.
Like the
it's gone.
timing that we have taught her in the time that she has been there doesn't exist tonight.
Yeah.
So you're really just like, you're just doing anything. You're doing anything you can. So when I saw her in the back at one point after we had settled down, right? Like the night had come almost to a close, and I see her in the back and she looks
like
flustered.
she'd been crying.
Yeah, she looked like she had been crying, and she just walks up and she's like, "Hey, do you think that I did okay?"
Oh,
And I said,
no.
I look her immediately, I go, sweetheart, you did fantastic. I said, everyone on shift tonight did everything they possibly could. I never heard anything bad about you from anybody on our crew or a guest. Nobody spoke to me about you doing anything wrong at all. And she goes, okay, it's just, I really feel like maybe I didn't. I go, none of us did. None of us were on our top game tonight because you couldn't be. Yeah. There was no top game to be had. Yeah. Like, please understand. And she goes, yeah,
we had managers greeting tables
like,
left and right.
I was crying for a little bit. I go, yeah, I can tell. And I'm so sorry. Like, you did everything in your power. Like, I'm hyping her up as much as I can because I was like, please understand that this is just how it gets sometimes. Like, not often do we have a night like that. Yeah. But sometimes we do, and we got to work with what we got. And, she was there, and she pulled through, and I told her at the end, I said, and you know what? You don't have to do that tomorrow. Like, that's not what tomorrow's going to be. Being a Friday and having more servers on and everything else. I was like...
Yeah, every station will have a server.
Yeah, I was like, if you're working tomorrow, it will not be like this. It will not. And just go home and know that you kicked all the ass that you could. Like, that's all there is to it. We all did. And we all absolutely, handled as much as I knew that we could. So it was pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, so Thursday was crazy. And then last night, something funny that happened. So I spoke about Dude Bro, and just, I don't think he'd ever seen a Bev station before, right? A couple weeks ago. Yeah. And last night, I see him talking to last night's hammer, which was not me. Right. It was Gorgeous. So she's telling him, like, no, you have to do this. And he was on A. And so she's like, no, you have to do this. You have to, and she's like walking him through it pretty much like the whole thing. And I looked him in the face and I said, have you never done side work? And he goes, what? And I was like, it just feels like you've never seen this kitchen before. Like, every time you go to do side work, you have no idea what you're doing. So if you've just never done it, like, what's happening?
Or seen the side work book that we have available to everyone at all times during every day.
Right. I said it as, like, a joking way, but also, like, it just kind of feels like you've never seen our kitchen. So, like, do you do side work?
What's going on? Or are you always put on rolls? Like, do we purposely put you on rolls every time and now you're thrown into side work and you don't know what to do? 8 months into working here, like, he's been there for a while now.
He has been there for a while, but he makes a joke back and he goes, well, I only work once a year. And I was like, yeah. Which is fair because they call him out.
They call him off constantly.
If there needs to be a call out and he's on the schedule, he's getting that phone call first.
Right.
Like, he's always the one, but he takes it too. So
he happily takes it. He does have another job. He has other things going. He has another job. So, I mean, obviously you couldn't live with the amount of shifts he works. Like,
fair. It is like once a month.
You couldn't feed yourself with the amount of shifts he works, Like, if he doesn't have a family to feed, he couldn't even feed himself. Like, he's college dieting it all the way through. So.
Just pot noodles day in, day out for him and his 1-year-old.
Right.
I don't know if he has a kid.
He doesn't have a kid.
Okay.
But yeah, so he does have another job. So I do think when he does get called, he happily takes them off. Like, and obviously you don't have to take the call off, So
yeah,
like,
you can tell them, no, I have to work. And right. Like, okay, we'll call someone else.
They'll call someone else, right? And so it's funny that he would say that, though. That's good. He does always, I'll give it to him. He always has a great attitude.
He's one of the happiest people I've ever met.
He's so happy to be there. He strolls around. God damn it, if I don't wish he moved a little bit fucking faster sometimes.
Sometimes he's just chilling, and I'm like,
he's just straight strutting around like nothing, not a care in the world. And I'm like, I'm behind you. Like, can you pick up the pace for 1 second? Because while you might be chilling with your 4 tables, I'm at 6. Get out of my fucking way. Like, and get on to something else. Because, he doesn't really have a care in the world, even when it comes to side work or, running food or doing other things.
He's just a golden retriever, just happy to be here.
Right. So tonight I walk in, I'm not feeling 100%. I had a late night and I've had a long week. My son went back to school. So now I'm up early and I know it was only Thursday and Friday, but like now I'm up early and my days are packed full because then I work at night and Thursday was a late night. Friday was a late night. And then Saturday I worked the morning. Ooh, so it's like I've had a long, like, my work week anyways, right? And so I walk in and I'm not feeling 100% and immediately, like, the first person I say hi to, bad mood. Second person I say hi to, bad mood. Third person I say hi to starts aggressively telling me what a bad mood she's in and why. Jesus. And, and I'm just like literally I'm just bombarded with like shit's going down. It's not great. And all I'm thinking is like, hi. Hey everybody.
So good to see you guys again.
Yeah. Bunny's here, and I'm trying to put a smile on my face. Like, that's all I can say. It's like, I want to work the shift, and I want to get it over with, because then I have 3 days off. Like, please, can we just make it, like, I'm like, it's okay, guys, you know, and they're like, it's not, and I'm like, okay, it's not okay. Sorry. Me, I'm so sorry. I'm going to go to my section now. And then, yeah, my first table was originally supposed to be a party of 7, and then ended up only being 4 adults and 2 very small children, so I'd just call it a table of 4 at that point. They were not happy with their table setup. It was kind of an awkward booth with a table added to the end.
That doesn't fit
That
correctly.
doesn't really fit. It doesn't match up to the booth table at all. And they were concerned about it. So the mom of the children was up front talking to the host, who was our busser that sometimes hosts, which
Giggles?
Yeah. He was also hosting Saturday morning.
I hate it when he hosts.
So yesterday morning, it's difficult. It's very difficult because it's almost like you're starting the point with a lot of confusion, you know, and I don't know if his timing's very good or like,
But also,
I don't want to just sit here and talk shit, but like, yeah, he kind of drives me fucking crazy when he's on that end because the host controls the flow of the restaurant and his flow is bullshit. Like,
right. And throwing out the fact that it's just difficult to understand him for the most part, right? Where we are, the demographic that we are, he might not be the best, like, face of the restaurant.
Sure.
Let's throw that out the window. The minute he puts on a pair of slacks and stands behind the host stand, he thinks that he has been serving for 25 years and he knows how to do your job better than you do.
Exactly. And he's going to tell me every little tiny thing that I need to do. And it's like, no, do not even attempt to micromanage me in any fucking way.
That's exactly what it is. He tries to micromanage the servers when he's standing behind the host desk.
And it's like, no, I need you back up at that desk and I need you seating people. And I mean, he was putting people on a weight that we didn't need to be put on Saturday morning anyways. But so he was the host tonight and he goes out of his way to find me, to tell me about a table in my section. It's like I'm getting drinks for a table, and he wants to come up to me and tell me, oh, yeah, you got 54. Yeah, no shit. I'm going to see that.
I'm going to see it when I get back
I'm going to see it when I get back there.
Yeah.
Tell me if I got 42 outside.
Yep.
Come and get me if I got a table in the fucking PDR, you know? Like, absolutely. But you're wasting your time and mine to stop me cutting bread so that you can tell me I got a table within the section that is assigned to me. Like, no fucking shit. So that's when it's like,
that's kind of what I'm here for. Thank you.
He tried tonight too. Hey, Bunny, it's 31. I go, okay. Okay. Like, what more? Stop it. Stop this. You're just telling me because you think that you're in charge. That's the only reason that you're coming up to tell me is because you're like, I need to make sure everybody knows what's going on. I know what's going on. I know the flow of this restaurant so much fucking better than you do.
Yes.
Because your flow is tables that are done. Mm-hmm. That's your known flow, is you bussing tables, which is like, I'm not bagging on you for being a busser,
but that flow is different.
That flow
it's
is
so
entirely
much different than the start.
And your timing has nothing to do with my timing. Mm-hmm. So anyways, my first table, right? She's not happy. So I see her come back from the host stand, and so I walk up and she looks unhappy. She's a pregnant woman. She looks unhappy. And so I walk up and 2 people are standing. So, you know, only 3 people are sat down. 2 people are standing. So I say to the table, I go, hey guys, not to interrupt, but are we uncomfortable with the table setup? I understand it's kind of a little wonky. Would you like me to go to the front and speak and see about just getting you a different table? Can I just get you a different table? To which the pregnant woman, and like all eyes are on her, and because she's the one that was just up talking to the host, right? Mm-hmm. And so all eyes are on her, and she throws her hands up in the air and goes, I don't know why this is all falling on me. Like, immediately. And I go, I
was asking the table, not you.
Right. And I go, oh, I'm so sorry. I saw that you had just spoken to the host, and I just wanted to try to make it better. Like, that was my response. Like, I just want to make this better for you. And she goes, well, everyone's like, all eyes are on me. Everybody's looking at me. Because, yeah, her parents and her husband were in fact looking at her, and I was looking in her direction, I guess.
Yeah.
To which I then put my hand up to the side of my face. And I look at her husband who's seated, so she's gone from my peripheral, right? And I look at her husband and I go, would you like me to go up to the host to see if I can get you a different table?
Absolutely fucking wild. I cannot believe you did this.
The parents immediately start laughing. The husband is laughing, and she has a little bit of a giggle, but I do understand that could have gone, very south.
That could have gone south so fast.
It felt like a lighthearted way to be like, okay,
I'm so
I
sorry.
get it. I also don't like attention on me, so let's take it off of you, and how about you guys all look at me right now while I do this silly thing, right? And so they ended up being they ended up even just pushing that little table away, and they all snuggled in and then put a high chair at the end. So it's totally fine. It wasn't even a tight fit, and they were so nice, and they tipped me super fat on their ending bill, and they were nice the whole time. Like, it really was. It was an enjoyable table, and we had more jokes that happened throughout, right?
Yeah.
And then they tipped me super fat, so it was like fantastic. That was good. But my whole point of that was like to have multiple people aggressively talking to me, and then my first table is like, I don't know why this is all falling on me. It's like, okay, first of all.
So many people aggressively talking to you 10 minutes between clocking
First
in.
of all, I already wasn't feeling well. And second of all, I'm doing my best. Like, I'm doing you a favor. Reel it in, you know? Like, that's what I almost want to just be like, what the fuck did I do? I'm trying to, you have a problem? I can fix it. You can't fix it, but I can, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, oh, great. Great. And so the night ended up going just fine. Like, tonight wasn't really that big of a deal. Apparently, it was just really busy from 4 to 5.
Yeah.
And it was just a little hectic from 4 to 5. So, okay, great. No big deal. And then I never really got busy. Other people stayed busy throughout the night with, like, large parties or whatever else. I never really got all that busy. I told a manager tonight, now new server manager.
Fabulous manager, yeah.
Fabulous manager who's taking over the server group. I stopped him for a moment because all I did was drop and Manhattan to a table. Also beautiful looking Manhattan, like totally full glass, like it looked great.
Ooh,
had a nice
terrible bartender was on tonight, so she.
Well, the morning bar was still there because I
Okay.
had just arrived. But so I don't know.
I was really ready to give her props too.
I don't know
Never
who
mind, I
made
take it back.
I don't know who made it. It could have been her, but it did look great, right?
Okay.
And like chilled glass and everything else. Like you could tell that it had just been made. I had just clocked on. I took a tray of drinks out to the patio because there was a tray to be ran.
Mm-hmm.
So I loaded them all up. I memorized the table numbers and I headed right out. So that was the easiest one to set down because it was just one and I was delivering multiple drinks to other tables.
Mm-hmm.
So I set it down to this table. Well, I say, hey guys, I've got that Manhattan here because while I memorized the table number, I don't remember which seat it was. And
Right.
sometimes the patio tables are wonky anyways. So I just go, hey, I've got that Manhattan here. And the lady goes, yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
I go, okay. And I set it down in front of her, to which the entire table just stares at me angrily. And I'm like, okay. Because
With
I'm
a tray of drinks in your
with
hand.
a large tray of other drinks, including like the bottles of bottled water that we have. So like,
the
it's
large
heavy.
1 liter bottle.
Right. It's like, this shit's heavy. Do you have a problem? Did something happen? I didn't hurt you. Who hurt you? Because it seemed like something like, did you wait half an hour for this drink? Because it was very clearly just made. So I'm not checking ticket times. I'm just pulling and running.
Yeah.
So I'm
getting
like,
them out as quick as possible. Yeah.
yeah. And so I'm just looking and they're looking at me and I go, okay. And I just like turn and I go to walk away. I deliver the rest of the drinks. I go inside. I find fabulous manager. And I said, hey, I just want to let you know that I was at 214. I think something happened. Don't ask me what. It's not my table. I just got here. The vibes were off. Like, it was very...
The vibes? Rotten.
Bad vibes. Sour vibes. And he's like, okay. And I go, I don't know if they need to talk to a manager or not, but you might want to swing by. So... For an instance of, 1, not my table, 2, I have no idea what could possibly be wrong, but just feeling that, I went to a manager to say, because now I'm thinking they must have waited, or they're mad about, but they all had food, and they weren't, like, finished with their food, so I'm thinking, like...
Oh, interesting. I was thinking that they hadn't ordered yet, and they were waiting for you to be, like,
No.
taking their order. So
No,
they were just eating.
had food in front of them, and everybody was only, like, a quarter of the way through their meal, so were you guys, like, on pause until this drink dropped, or, like, because only one person's drinking alcohol at this table...
Well, you ready to check out?
I am so ready to check out. Let's get this night over with.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Rolling Silverware Podcast. If you are enjoying the post-shift shit talk, please feel free to rate it. Tune back in next week for our shift shenanigans.